Hello, I'm Daniel Frankel with Next TMT and our partners Media Play News. Here at the NAB 2026 show in Las Vegas, we're making the rounds. I have Josh Arensberg, who has a global position, executive title for Verizon. Right, Josh?
100%. Yeah, no, I help people connect the dots within the organization. I do a lot with the industry, and definitely I am your kind of sports, media, and live events person to connect with.
Verizon has a ton going on in terms of getting video from one place to another right now. They're working with Fox across divisions for television shows on the entertainment side, the upcoming World Cup on the sports side. We're going to talk with Josh a little bit about the business strategy and the technology and what's new here. So, Josh, broad question, what is new?
So there's a lot happening, and I think you have to look at the market to understand, why would Verizon be such an important fit for what's happening in the space, and that is because connectivity now and IP transport and delivery, as you know, is such a critical part of the whole ecosystem. And so when you think about how content gets created, delivered, and
You
monetized,
just pull up with a truck and a
and
satellite dish, right?
yeah, we'd like to think that, and I think there's a lot of transition happening in the space as the users of satellite today look at, hey, maybe satellite may not be the same around, right? That spectrum might go away, so they're looking at for alternatives. Verizon has made a huge investment in our network, in our fiber infrastructure, and so we're really poised to be a place when you think about satellite to fiber to make that transition. We're there.
Now, you made an announcement today from the show in relationship with Fox. I think that was for a reality television show.
We did.
Can you tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this was a really interesting project. Extracted was shooting their last season in Canada. They had a challenge where they had 12 contestants over a large area, miles wide. And the challenge with that is that those folks, what do? You take a camera crew and put them with every single person, or you hang cameras on trees and whatnot. And so we were able to deploy a private 5G network that laid over this entire landscape where there was really no communication.
Is this like Hunger Games, like Katniss Everdeen?
Yeah, I mean, it is a competition elimination,
Right.
show.
Survive in the wild, the last one
Exactly,
wins money.
exactly. And you can imagine real time ability to ingest that content, to know where that contestant is, the ability for that contestant to even shoot themselves, with the content, all play into this incredible narrative of the person getting extracted.
So, talk about the infrastructure a little bit. How you have to set up 5G radio communication in a
Yeah.
wild area
Well, we
over
do
an
we do
expanse.
it every day. One of the misnomers here is that Verizon might just be good at private 5G, right? In the US. And that's just not the case. We are doing private 5G projects around the world. And this is only one example in an environment that was only stood up for, let's say, weeks, max months
Right.
at a time in the woods up in Canada. And so that environment meant bringing in a small set of equipment that did private 5G. Also, there was an AI component to it, right? Where we were leveraging AI to help, pick the right video, know where the contestant was, provide the right spectrum to that cell phone, that in device, and bring that all together in really a comprehensive experience. And the show, when we just, we're at NAB, when we just talked with Fox Entertainment on stage, you could hear how excited they were, how this technology has really changed how they think about maybe producing other shows, not just this show. And they had a great quote that I want to share
Sure.
that I thought was super interesting. It was, the technology has to be invisible and invaluable.
Right.
And we were able to do that with this private 5G network deployment for Fox.
Those shows are very popular. I haven't watched Extracted. I must admit, but I've seen Alone. And what really fascinates me is the sort of intimate level they are able to sort of the production values they're able to achieve with very invisible production
That's
infrastructure.
right. And so imagine, and we're seeing that with rimming, right? We talk a lot about remote production and what does it mean to pull all this together. And here's the thing we know. We know that that does not happen unless you have connectivity,
Right.
right? Because all that content has to go back to the cloud. It has to go back to your broadcast facility. Maybe it's your post-production facility. Maybe it's your production truck, even if you're on site somewhere. And without the connectivity, without that capability, you just don't get to that point where there's that seamless ability to not have to fly everybody out to every production anymore. And so you see that enablement where you have a producer, a director who's actually in their living room. And we're going to see that a lot more with the World Cup coming up, where a lot of the rights holders for the World Cup, instead of trying to be on site at every given stadium, they're at the International Broadcast Center where we're bringing back all the video feeds.
Right.
We're leveraging these single points of location. And Fox Sports is a great example of somebody who's actually reducing the number of nights that they're having to put people in hotels and the number of bodies at all these sites because Fox is literally taking back all the feeds back to their facilities in LA and in Tempe.
I heard that FIFA was working on a 5G technology that takes money directly out of your wallet and gives it back to FIFA.
Well,
That's
I can't say that. I mean, FIFA's been a great partner
I
for
know, I
us.
know.
You know, when they were looking for somebody to really help build out their capability, build out their network, they did end up landing with us, and we became the official telecommunication services sponsor for the games. And we're proud of it because it's not an
I
easy
could
lift.
say snarky stuff like that because they haven't given me money. So, but if they did, I'd be really nice to them.
Well, fair enough.
Let me ask you this: a little historical context. Let's just talk about the reality television application. I mean, these shows have been on for 25 years. 5G has been around for 5 or 10, and you guys have obviously been one of the masters of it. You've been doing it among the longest.
That's right.
Talk about how it would have been done. Could you do a show like this 5, 10 years ago?
That is a great question. So when I was at Discovery and we looked to do a very similar show that ended up not being produced, you know what it took? We were going to stand up 40 towers with Wi-Fi access points everywhere. And that's just not the case. I think we had maybe 4 or 5, antenna locations that we fed an entire like I want to say it was like 7 square mile area from.
Right. So talk about how it's done now. Get to an area that won't take much where I am not technically literate about it. Are you putting infrastructure on trees or what's involved physically
Yeah,
at this point?
yeah. So normally, what you do in these environments is you have, you know, think of those lighting towers. You put up one of these lighting towers. In this case, it's a mast. You put a couple antennas on it, and
Right.
it creates basically a bubble of connectivity. And that connectivity, unlike Wi-Fi, you don't have to reconnect every time. You
Mhm.
seamlessly can go through all of these bubbles as
Right.
a single area of connectivity.
Right. And talk about the novelty of the application. Have you proved it out with other clients at this point?
Early days
Yeah.
yet, but I think we have, in a way, Verizon in particular has spent a lot of time on, live broadcasting over 5G. We've done a number of great use cases there. And we know that in these environments, what's happening is you're trying to do a lot and you're trying to do it in an environment where maybe there's no coverage.
Right.
And we think a lot about Verizon's investment in frontline, which is how we respond to disasters. So when you look at, and this is, I think, a really helpful thing for an audience to understand, when you look at Verizon's capability, look no farther than what we do for first response. When there's a disaster, when there's something that's happening, and Verizon goes on site, that capability we're making available to our enterprise customers, right inside Verizon Business, so that if they have, they're doing a TV show and they want to have that same capability, we're bringing it to them.
Well, it sounds cool. You've made me an Extracted fan. I'm going to have to check it out. I'll tell whoever's watching it. Yeah, I know all about the technology that's involved. It's based on 5G. Maybe you heard about it. But thank you for the explanation. This is
Awesome. I really appreciate the time and I really look forward to continuing the conversation.
we'll do it again. Dan Frankel, Next TMT, and Media Play News with Verizon's Josh Arensberg. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.